we have been doing this for 2 years, every third Monday of the month. We have the All-Stars. Hello, Shonda, Catrice. Welcome. And today we are Melinda, I was just telling Ed Brunson how far we go back from when you came to Channel 48. So Melinda and I have known each other, I think that's well over 15 years.
At least.
He said at least. And Melinda Emerson, she is known as the SmallBizLady. However, she has written books that are best-selling. Fix Your Business is the one that we are focusing on today, but Be Your Own Boss, I've been seeing everywhere. So I really want to ask you about that. The goal for re-releasing it or re-pushing it. So I definitely want to talk about that. And also get into to anybody who wants to share really quickly, just say hi, introduce yourselves before we move forward. Anybody want to introduce themselves and their business before we move forward? Going once, going twice. So, because I'm telling you, I never give up an opportunity to introduce myself. Claudia,
I'll go.
Okay.
I'm learning. I'm getting better. 2021, I'm getting better.
Okay, I'm telling you, I don't give up an opportunity ever. So, Shonda, then Claudia.
So I'm Shonda. I am a realtor with Keller Williams, and I also have a candle business. So, hello, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome. All-star. Claudia.
Hey, hi, everybody. I'm Claudia Hess. I do something that you probably will not meet in a long time, but I'm an art appraiser. So think Antiques Roadshow. But that's what I do. I help people value their passion assets.
Oh.
Their passion assets. I remember you're saying people don't need it, but there is a business for it. You've been.
Oh yeah. People need to insure their art. People donate their art. People pass away and need to have their estate valued. Or they just want to know what they have. So.
Awesome, amazing. And you're hailing all the way from California.
Yeah.
Yes. Welcome again. We definitely enjoyed you before, and thank you for coming back now. Anybody else before we move forward?
Hey everybody, it's Catrice Bailey. I am a model and I have a podcast called When Models Talk. Thanks. I'm excited to hear about about the book and everything else today.
I think you met her before, right?
Yes, I did. I got her first. I don't think it's her first book, but I have one of her books.
You have Fix Your Business. That's what you had.
No, I don't have that one. It's another one. I think it's called, because I was moving everything around. 12 months. No, it's like 12 months. Where the book at? Lord.
She said, it's okay. We get it. You have it. Amazing. So anybody else?
Am I the only guy?
Move forward.
Am I the only guy on this panel?
Yes, you're the only guy. Does that matter?
Yes.
It does not matter.
Why aren't you inviting your men folk on the call?
You ought to feel glad. You're representing a whole race of men.
Oh.
Yeah, be glad to represent the men.
Right. Oh, okay. I was just wondering. Okay.
Yeah, we don't bite unless you like that. You'll be all right.
So, fella, introduce yourself.
Anyway, I'm DJ Kid Disco. I'm a DJ, producer. I actually own the radio station with Shelly. Do a lot of different stuff. Mostly, production work and musical work and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, my camera just got fuzzy. All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Rashawn just came on, but why did my camera just got fuzzy?
I had to come on and save DJ Kid Disco. I just was scrolling through on Facebook. He's like, am I the only guy on this call?
Appreciate it, Rashawn.
I was cracking up. I'm sorry, Cheryl. Go ahead.
It's okay. No, you can. We're in the introduction phase, but for some reason my camera just got blurry. Is it blurry to you too?
Nah, we see you perfectly.
I see it's blurry to me. Put your hand all the way up in front of the screen and hold it there for a second, and then pull it back.
That did it. Thank you. And I still can't hear you, Melinda.
Oh, look at
What'd you say, Claudia?
the guys are all late.
The guys heard the cry. Is that how you men do it? The guys heard the cry and they let me find out. Y'all
Right, can you hear me now? Am I good?
Yeah, you are good now. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, sorry.
Rashawn, I can't hear you, but I'm gonna move forward because I don't know why everybody's not. You're not.
Oh, I think you muted all of us. But I'm back.
Not.
Oh, I muted myself by mistake then. But no, I said I was just, I think a lot of us was just going to be, participants on Facebook and listen. But then DJ Kid Disco was like, yo, what's happening? We was there with you, bro. You just didn't see us. We was on Facebook. We was with you. No, my name is, for those who don't know me, my name is Rashawn Howard. I am relaxing in my living room right now. Just got off a Clubhouse call. But I am an advocate for economic equality. And today, I am just here to support and scream at the top of my lungs and excitement from my guy, George, who just launched his website, who just launched his magazine, who's doing great things in the community. So super, super proud of that young man and everything that he's doing.
Thank you.
And, all my resources and excitement goes to you today, bro.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate you.
Congratulations to George. George is came to Motivation Monday 2 years ago, fresh out of school, and now has launched his business, his website, a magazine.
Yes.
Two books. Within a 2-year period, he has just exploded, and yeah, congratulations, George. Really, congratulations.
Thank you. Did I just hear the hand clap? DJ Disco, did you just put the hand claps on?
Yes, hand clap to you.
That's hilarious.
That's what I do.
I really do. I appreciate y'all. I guess I'll do my intro.
Sure.
So yeah, my name is George Cephas. I am the founder of Survival Success. We focus on helping the Black community mentally, spiritually, and financially. We do that through youth programming, community engagement, and transformation coaching. And so I'm also an author, as Shelly mentioned, author of an ebook called Survival to Success and a journal called 50 Questions of Healing. And we just launched an online magazine called Hurt, Heal, Grow. It's Pay What You Can magazine. So make sure you guys go in and donate. You can get it at survivaltosuccess.org/Hurt, Heal, Grow.
Amazing. Welcome. And Culture Nation is in the chat. I guess she said she just started her business, and that's about all I really remember. I saw it in the chat. I was going by memory. I thought I was going to be good.
It's a custom jacket business. It's going to be an online business, I read.
Okay, custom jacket business. All right. Custom jacket business. That sounds intriguing, actually. But anyway, let's get into the topic for today, which is Melinda Emerson, SmallBizLady. Right? Let's go on a journey. She is literally America's #1 small biz lady. And if we're going by music or hip hop or anything like that, she's like the Jay-Z of the business world. Let's go there. And some people always know music. And sometimes you don't get to see the perspective of what business is. When I look at Melinda Emerson, I'm looking at Jay-Z right now. So I'm saying, hey, Jay-Z, welcome to the stage. Hello, Melinda. How are you?
Thank you so much. It's so funny that you compare me to Jay-Z, because a lot of times I use a quote that he said is that he's not a businessman, he's the business man. So I will tell you that I'm not the biz lady. I am the business lady. So I want you to know that when you think about your business, what you have to understand is that you're serving your customers, but the first thing you're selling is you. And so you are a personal brand before you are anything, because people do business with people that they like, know, and trust. So when I meet you, did you show up on time? Do you look like somebody I'm supposed to be talking to? Matter of fact, do you look like somebody can help me make more money, save me money? What is it the energy that you bring to any situation where you show up? And that is the difference between people who want to be successful and people who are. And that's the first thing you got to remember.
Absolutely. That's a good thing to remember. I mean, when you walked into Channel 48 many years ago, anybody knows that WGTW was owned by the first African-American woman to own a TV and radio station. She was my mentor and my boss. But so I couldn't really necessarily connect with you then because it would have been out of order. But my whole thought was when I met you, when I saw you, I was like, I'm going to connect with you. I knew it no matter what. I said, I can't be out of order while I'm at work, but I'm going to get to you. Your presence just said that, and your packaging said that. So I think early on you had the most amazing package to present.
Well, you know what? I benefited from the fact that I was a television producer and frankly, a journalist, trained journalist from Virginia Tech before I became a business owner. So I've now been in business 22 years, but the only corporate job I ever had was the 5 years I worked for Channel 6 and Channel 10. And I also worked for 1 year for the NBC affiliate in Pittsburgh, which is actually my hometown. So that was my training. So the one thing I knew was how to tell a good story, and I knew how to package it too for the media. So those skills turned out to be real valuable to me as I started and launched my business, and then later on became the Small Biz Lady and started working towards my mission to end small business failure. So all of those things, I almost feel like every job I ever had prepared me for the job I have now, right? So
And the job you have now is your job. And
that's right. That's right. I'm the boss. Yes, I have not had a paycheck job in 22 years.
That is amazing. Listen, I'm trying to get there. I'm definitely trying to get there. I started out no paycheck for about 15 years, and then I went back. But when you walked into Channel 48, what was your actual goal at that moment? Because I'm not really sure what it was, because I wasn't supposed to be really in your business like that then.
Well, I think when I came to visit you when you were at Channel 48, I think I had just started my video production company. I mean, it was a long time ago. And I think I just wanted to learn about what you guys did there. And I was very intrigued by the history, by the woman that owned the station, and just really kind of wanted to understand the history and whether or not I was going to be able to leverage my talents perhaps there or not. But I definitely wanted to always acknowledge, to me, success leaves clues everywhere.
Ooh.
So if you see success somewhere, you need to investigate that. You need to find out what the backstory is. What have they been through? Because I believe, particularly as Black folks, we don't look like what we've been through, right? So you have to ask somebody the story so that you can find out and learn their hard-learned lessons so you don't have to. And when I go any place, that's my goal, right? So I can't exactly tell you what my goal was as a chance meeting 15 years ago, Shelly, because I don't know about you, but my memory don't work that good. So I will tell you that my goal wherever I go is to leave people better than I found and learn as much as I can. So that's always my goal.
I definitely understand. My memory's not good. You know what? My memory has the moments it's supposed to remember. Like, I know what I remember. I remember that day. I remember you walking. I remember the impression you left on me that's still here. It's like the impression was like, yeah, one day, one day I'm going to talk to you, work with you. That's what I knew one day. And I think I'm grateful for the opportunity to do that. So your career blossomed, like literally you just, all of a sudden, it seemed like it. I know it wasn't. I know it's hard work, and we all think it was all of a sudden. But tell me about that process from going from media to being the Small Biz Lady with a huge following on Twitter. You took over the Twitter sphere like it was nobody's business. It was just, well, how did that happen? What was that process like?
Well, I mean, I started my first business when I was 26 years old. And by the time I was 30, 31, my business was doing really well. I was, my husband at the time was able to quit his full-time job at GE and join our business. I had offices in downtown Philadelphia. I had 8 or 9 employees and another, 10 or 12 freelancers that work with us on a regular basis. I had the largest female-owned video production company in Philadelphia. I made in 2003 or 2004, I can't remember, we were number 29 on the Philly 100 list of fast and growing small businesses in Philadelphia. So we were doing really well. And I had sort of like crazy zenith success, when I was fairly young. But one of the other things that happened to me though, was back then, I was my own worst enemy. Like literally, I was the worst workaholic you ever met in your whole life. Like I would leave church on Sunday and go to the office and work 4 hours before I came home. I mean, like I didn't even take the Lord's Day. I was ridiculous. And you could call my office at 9 o'clock at night and people would answer the phone like it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Not only was I a workaholic, I created a culture of workaholism in my business. And I was on the road to complete burnout. But here's the good news story I will tell you. But God has got to get you. If you act ugly, God to get you right. So what happened to me was God had me get pregnant by my husband. And I remember going to the doctor and telling the doctor, I think something's wrong with me. I am so tired. No matter how much rest I get, I'm exhausted. And she said, really? And I went to my regular primary care doctor because it didn't even occur to me that I could have been pregnant. So then they tell me I'm pregnant. I'm like, are you serious? And she was like, am I serious? I'm like, yes, 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 yes. So lo and behold, this was like 2005. And when I got pregnant with my son, I ended up with a high risk pregnancy and I got put on bed rest for 6 months. And I want to tell you, in 2005, Wi-Fi was not what it is today, right? Wi-Fi was not in everybody's home. That actually didn't happen till like 2007, and it was like one of those things where I was at home. Like it wasn't even, I had a Palm 3 cell phone. For those of you as old as me, you guys remember these Palm 3 cell phones. And I was trying to run my poor business in my life, like from this phone. And meanwhile, they had me up in Lincoln 3 times a week getting testing done because they thought my child had a heart condition. Wow. And so I basically went from being like the worst workaholic you ever met to being a house mouse. Then I wasn't even able to raise my voice above a whisper at people because I was so scared I was going to do something to hurt my baby. Oh, and I will tell you though that it changed me. It changed me when I had my son, and praise God, when he got here, he was perfect. There wasn't nothing wrong with my child. They had pediatric cardiologists, all these people waiting for him to come out, and they thought they didn't know whether they're going to have to do surgery or whatever. My baby was fine when he got here. But I will say to you that after he came, I never knew that I could love anything like I love my son, to the point where I was ready to throw the whole business away. I was like, I'm not going back. I had to be forced. I had to be forced to go back to work. But what I will tell you is when I got on bed rest to have my son, that was the first time I ever stopped to think about how my business operated versus just working on my business, in my business every day, making the donuts every day, in a race every day. It was when I finally got pregnant with my son that I finally sat back and was like, wow, okay, what would happen if I was intentional about anything as opposed to being reactionary to everything? And what I realized was that I couldn't go back to working like I had been working, not with no brand new baby. Mm-hmm. And I also realized that I needed to think about my business differently. And I didn't love my business anymore. Like I just couldn't go back to working like that. And if it was going to take all of that to be successful, I was like, look, I got to figure out something else to do. But while I was on bed rest at home, I started making all these notes and writing down all the expensive lessons I had learned in my business. And man, the list was like, it was long, Shelly. It was long. And so I realized that there was value in what I had learned running my business. And so then I said, okay, let me do a evaluation of my existing business. What is it that is the most valuable asset? And I said, well, was it my employees? Well, hell no, it wasn't my employees. They was barely checking my email while I was out on, sick rest. And literally people were emailing RFPs and stuff to my office. My staff wasn't even checking stuff. Don't even get me started. Like we were burning through cash, burning through our savings to keep people employed, and they weren't even taking care of my business. And I was out, having my son. So it definitely wasn't them. So then I said, well, are my customers are valuable. Well, I had built a customer base that was all based on relationships, and I was heavily niched in the pharmaceutical space. Well, a couple of my key clients retired. It was like Vioxx had that big scandal at Merck, and they were like our biggest customers. So them getting in trouble was like us getting laid off. So it was all this stuff was going on. And the final linchpin for me was we were up for a big contract where we would have been one of 3 video production vendors that this one major corporation in town would have used for 5 years. I mean, it was a multi-million-dollar contract. And I'll never forget, I went to the meeting, and it was the only time I left my house when I was pregnant. But I went to this meeting because it was so important. I think I was 6 months pregnant at this meeting, and my now ex-husband, but then husband, held onto my arm so tight. He was like, Lord God, I got to get you in this building to sit down in this conference room, and then I got to get you back in the car at home, and we can tell no one that you came out of the house, And so lo and behold, we sat at this meeting, and they politely told us that we were not really up for consideration. And I was like, oh my God, did I come off of my sick bed at home for these people to like insult us to our face and waste our time? But all of those were signs for me that I needed to do something other than video production. And so then I said, well, what is the most valuable thing in the business? If it's not my employees, if it's not my customers, it's not my equipment. My equipment was depreciating all around me, and new innovative stuff was coming out, every minute. So then I said, the most valuable thing in this business is what I learned from running it. And so then I said, I tell you what, I'm gonna learn how to bottle and sell that. And what I did was I joined the National Speakers Association. Now, I knew business, but I didn't know the speaking business at all. I didn't know how to package myself or my one sheet or my signature talks. And I went to their national conference. I didn't know a soul. I bought a plane ticket to San Diego and a conference registration and didn't know nobody. I walked in there and I said, well, I'm a journalist. I know I can learn everything going on up in here. And I went to every session dutifully. I took notes, and then I talked to people in the hallways, and I talked to people in the bars at night. And you know what I learned? Every single person I talked to said, if you wanted to be taken seriously as an expert, you have to write a book. As a matter of fact, you got to write a good book, and somebody need to pay you to write it. That's what they said. And I said, well, I have an undergraduate degree in journalism. Writing a book ain't hard. And then I thought about, all those notes I took while I was pregnant. So I said, all right. So I literally went back and I started cleaning that stuff up and turning it into something. And I developed a table of contents, and I had about 4 chapters. But but the baby, I was getting used to being a first-time mom, and my, then husband started traveling. He was gone 3 weeks out of the month, so basically making me a glorified single parent. And I was like, oh my Lord, it was a lot. It was a lot going on. And so I decided that I really couldn't focus on that until I got JoJo to his first birthday. And when I got JoJo to his first birthday and I didn't permanently maim him in any way, I said, okay, now, do me now. And I literally, that's when I got real serious about being the small biz lady. It was 2007.
But who named you? But the name Small Biz Lady, was that something you came up with, or was that something that just came to you once you started putting it out?
Well, let me finish my story. So it's all part of the story. So when I got to the point where I, had gotten a book deal, the book was supposed to be turned in September 1st, 2008. So I turned the book in on time. My book was supposed to come out early 2009. Well, then the market crashed. The market crashed September 14th of 2008. So let me tell you what happened. So I turned the book in 2 weeks earlier. And then 2 weeks after that, my publisher called me and said, listen, Melinda, thank you so much for being a first-time author that tragically turned your book in on time. But we don't think anyone is thinking about entrepreneurship right now. So we're going to shelf your book until March of 2010. This was September of 2008. These people were telling me they're shelving my book for 18 months. So I'm like, holy macaroni, Batman, what am I supposed to do for 18 months? You know, because at this point, I had wound down my company thinking I'm about to go on this national book tour. I'm going to become America's #1 small business expert. Well, it did happen, but it didn't happen in them 2 years. So literally a friend of mine in the National Speaker Association said, listen, you better hire a publicist and start publicizing that book like it's coming out anyway. And I was like, what? She said, I'm serious. You need to hire. She said, Bill Gates said if he had $5 left in the world, he would spend $2.50 on PR. You got to scrape up a little money. You got to hire a publicist. I was like, oh my God. I didn't even want to think about this book. And I mean, I honestly would give you a 20-minute cursing rant if you mentioned something to me about that book at that time, because I was pissed. I was like, I want to give these people this money back and buy my book back. But it was a recession. My husband was out of work. I mean, it was a mess, right? So I was just like, okay, all right. So I literally, I think I had $2,500 and I found this woman and she knew as much about social media as you could know at the time. And I hired her and she said, I know what we're going to do. We're going to go and build your brand on Twitter. And I remember saying to her, what is Twitter? I had no idea what she was talking about. And literally, she was like, no, trust me, this is going to be really good for your brand. We'll use it to build your author platform while we're waiting for your book to come out. And so I was like, oh, all right. I mean, but she was dragging me along because I wasn't feeling it. So finally, the day came for me to get my own Twitter account. So I go to twitter.com. I'm on the phone in front of my computer. She's on the phone in front of her computer with me. And I go to twitter.com and I put in Melinda Emerson. And I got this polite notice back that said, this name is already taken. Come up with something else. So that day on the phone, she and I brainstormed for about 10 minutes and came up with SmallBizLady. How I became
It was like a brainstorming.
It was a 2-person brainstorm because somebody named Melinda Emerson had gotten to Twitter before me, which was unbelievable because Melinda is not a common name, let alone Melinda Emerson. But lo and behold, there are 7 Melinda Emersons in the United States, but I'm the only Black one. We later found out, thanks to Facebook, there are 7 others, but they all know who I am.
I bet they do.
So yeah, so that's the story.
That's SmallBizLady. So you put in the word SmallBizLady, but then SmallBizLady on Twitter became the hottest thing ever. You know how everybody's running the Clubhouse now? Everybody was running to Twitter for your Wednesday shows. Talk about that. How you made it so that everybody wanted to come to where you were.
Well, you know, when I first got on Twitter, there were 3 things that my publicist told me to do every day. And she said, Melinda, I want you to tweet out an article that's helpful to small business owners. Because back then, I didn't even have a blog back then. I was just SmallBizLady with this book that was coming out, but I had nothing else, right? And so I would find an article from Inc. or New York Times or entrepreneur.com or something. I would share it. And then she told me, and I want you to tweet something personal about yourself every day so people can get to know you. And so, you know, JoJo was a baby back then. So I used to tweet something like, you know, had to act like an ape to get JoJo to eat a banana this morning. You know, like just something that would make people know that I was a real person and not like a drone that was always tweeting out small business information. And then I would answer somebody's small business question every day. Every day. I worked Twitter like a job 9 to 5 for almost 2 years. Wow. And after about 6 months of chasing people, trying to find somebody with a question every day, I was like, what can I do to have people with questions find me? And then back then, that was when tweet chats were just getting started. And PR Sarah Evans was like the first one that had this big tweet chat. And within me seeing that, I said, there was somebody else back then that used to have something called Small SB Chat. And I contacted them and I said, well, can I help you guys? Could I be a co-host or something? And they politely told me to kick rocks with an open-toed shoe. Like, I guess that wasn't so polite. But anyway, so I said to them, I was like, all right, no problem. I said, because what they didn't know was what my background was and that I had this big book that was coming out. So I was going to have a little bit of firepower behind me. So I decided to create Small Biz Chat. I created Small Biz Chat. I decided that we were going to meet Wednesdays at 8:00 because they were like Tuesdays at 8:00. So I was like, I won't be on the same night as them. I'm not going to be disrespectful. So I just started out Wednesdays at 8:00. And I did it for 10 and a half years, live every Wednesday night, 50 weeks a year. I have interviewed over 600 people live on Twitter. And now we've turned Small Biz Chat into a podcast a year and a half ago. So now we have the Small Biz Chat podcast. And I do a live show like you once a month. I have 3 guests on. And matter of fact, my show is this Wednesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern, live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube on my SmallBizLady channel. And then we turn those interviews into the podcast. So it has become very popular. And it's something that I did for a long time, but it was such an incredible commitment. I mean, every Wednesday night for 10 and a half years, I was live on Twitter answering people's small business questions.
That is major. I'm gonna ask you one more thing, but something is rubbing up against your microphone.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it was like something was rubbing up against it. Like the wind was blowing or something.
Okay.
So 10 years, but what made you stop? I mean, it's great to transition into, of course, podcasting and Facebook Live, but what made you just say, well, all these other things, but I'm just going to leave Twitter alone? Because you have over 200,000 followers on Twitter. What made you just say?
It's actually over 300,000, Shelly, but the thing is that for me, we just started seeing the numbers dwindle of like who was coming every week. And it was just becoming so burdensome for me. I mean, and honestly, it was every Wednesday night. So every time there's ever been a party, conference, event, anything, I did turn it down because it was on Wednesday. And I just finally was like, you know what? I think there's a lot of ways I can serve people without doing this. And people had been asking me to do a podcast for years, probably 5 years before I finally did it. And once I did it, I was like, why didn't I do this a long time ago? But, sometimes you just got to come to stuff when you come to it. So,
So are the numbers, so do the numbers grow and grow and grow like in the podcast, just like, so they followed you over there to the podcast as well? Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, people now, the way people used to stalk me to be on my tweet chat is now how people stalk me to be interviewed on my podcast. So it has gone full circle. And I mean, our downloads on the podcast are almost over 250,000 downloads already in a year and a half. So it's probably my number one lead gen source now in terms of brands and people calling me. Yeah. Oh yeah. What do you think the secret to getting those numbers like that? Because Catrice has a podcast, Disco has a podcast, I have a podcast, but we're not seeing those numbers. Well, I mean, let's face it. It helps to have a huge email list. It helps to have a huge social media following, and it helps to be good at promoting who's going to be on your podcast. I think that you can elevate your podcast by who you interview. One of the things that I did very early on and when I was doing Small Biz Chat was that I realized that it gave me a license to contact anybody and invite them to be on my show. And that's what I did. And what I realized is when you interview a big time person, you become a big time person too. It's like you raise yourself to the level of the person that you are interviewing, right? So it's very important for you to invite people that are awesome, that are big, that certainly have something to share. We've done a lot of book authors over the years, but just other people that I know are influencers and experts
people who have big blogs and stuff like that. And sometimes I just interview regular entrepreneurs, because regular entrepreneurs can teach you something just like somebody who is, a small biz expert and that's what they do. But for me, I love to talk to people, and my journalism background, my broadcast journalism background helps me. So having the opportunity to interview people is fun. It's not even work, so that's what we do.
I know it is. I'm going to sidebar because you were talking about your podcast, and I happened to listen to one of the podcasts, and it was the one where the hacking, because I was hacked, and I wanted to go to that one because I wanted to hear your experience. That was, to me, the craziest thing when the online fisher people got you for all that money. I was like, wow. So I was listening intently to that guest, like, I'm tired of getting hacked. I'm tired of them stealing my money.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it was a very, very, very scary experience. And I'll just briefly tell it here. But in the middle of the COVID-19 scandal, I was taken for over $100,000 by scammers who pretended to be customers, hired me to do a job, and then sent me a fraudulent cashier's check that cleared in my bank account, but it turned out to be fraudulent. And one of the things that they had asked me to do was make a donation to a COVID-19 charity, because they wanted me to mention the donation in the video that I was producing to encourage entrepreneurs around the world to keep hope and everything through COVID-19. Well, as it turns out, the charity was fake. The check was fake. And so I ended up sending my $100,000 to the fake charity. So, yeah.
That was crazy to me. I mean, I listened to plenty of them, but I just happened to that one it just hit home. Mine wasn't $100,000, but I'm thinking I'm tired of them just being able to take money.
You know what the FBI told me was that as soon as COVID started, the COVID scam started, and that everybody really needs to be careful of who's calling you, who's asking you for your name and contact information, or somebody trying to verify your address or social security number. Hang up. If something sounds too good to be true, it is, right? These people offered to pay me an additional $100,000 on top of my fee to cover my donation, which is why I didn't think anything of it.
And then they had the reputable company. She did her due diligence by looking at the website. They had a website that was already up, and it was like, wow.
The lengths that these people went to, and it was people in 3 different countries that were involved in it. So there were people in the US, people in Sweden, and people in Hong Kong that were involved in the fraud. I mean, and it was a really crazy time. But you know what? The God that I serve, he says that the righteous will not be forsaken, nor their seeds beg bread. And he also promises you anything the devil has taken from you, that times 70 times 7, that he'll give back to me. And I promise you, before the end of 2020, he gave me that $100,000 back. And so what I want to tell you is that, you go through things so that you can have other people benefit from your lesson. And I have to be honest with you, I was ashamed at first to tell that story, because I was like, I'm Melinda Emerson. Are you kidding me that I got caught up in some mess like that? But yeah, I'm Melinda Emerson, and I got caught up in some mess like that. So imagine that it could happen to you. And so when they asked me if I would tell my story, I said that I would. And I said I would tell it on my own thing. So they would have to come in. I would interview them on my show. And that's how we would warn people and tell people. But I can't tell you how many people have reached out to me and offered to help me or give me business because I told that. Ooh. So, yeah.
Oh, let me go tell my story now. I need double my money. But that was just a sidebar, because understanding everybody, you never know who's listening to your podcast. Of course she knows I follow her with friends, but I literally listen to the podcast anyway. And I'm like, wait a minute. I got frauded. So you never know who's listening to you. You never know who's just really supporting you behind the scenes. They may not tell you, but they're supporting you behind the scenes. So I support you behind the scenes, but that was it. I was like, oh man. But I want to go into, before we get to Fix Your Business, I wanted to know why recently you've been doing a series of ads for Be Your Own Boss.
Yes.
Kind of like relaunched it, the promotional campaign. What made you decide to relaunch this in such a heavy way because you're really going all in on it.
Well, you know what? I decided that COVID has been so bad and so many Black-owned businesses in particular have been impacted. I mean, we know that 40% of Black businesses had ceased operating by May, let alone got all the way to December. And we know how much discrimination went on with the PPP loans and EIDL loans and stuff, and it was ridiculous. Credit scoring should have never been used to decide, nor should your current revenues from the past year been the discriminant to whether or not you got help, but that's how they did it. So anyway, I decided that I wanted to do what I could to help. And so I reached out to my publisher and I purchased personally 1,000 copies of my book, Become Your Own Boss. And I decided that what I wanted to do was give them away free to anyone who needed help, either starting their business, rebuilding their business, pivoting their business, whatever it was. You know, my book, I've been so blessed. That book has sold over 100,000 copies around the world. That book has been published in Portuguese and Spanish and has been released in India and Africa. And I have been so blessed by that book that I said to myself, what could I do? I'm not, mega rich or anything, but I wanted to do something to help. And so we decided to do a free plus shipping offer for my book, Become Your Own Boss in 12 months. And if anyone watching tonight, if they want to go to beginmybiz.com/free book, you can get your copy of Become Your Own Boss in 12 months. All you got to do is pay for shipping, $9.95 for the shipping, and we'll get it out to you. And I'm doing that as my part of trying to help with what the pandemic has done and ravished so many people and so many people's families and people out here now in food lines and soup lines and stuff because they don't have enough food for their family or they don't have money to pay their mortgage. They're worried about keeping their house, or they worried about, are they going to keep their job? Because the big companies are still laying people off and people haven't thought about that. And so we decided, me and my team decided, well, what could we do? What could I personally do to help? And I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to give the books away. And everybody was like, you're going to do what? And I'm like, yeah, because I didn't self-publish that book. Simon & Schuster published that book. So I had to go to them and buy the books and then give them away. And the people at Simon & Schuster thought I was crazy too. I didn't care because I know if as I walk along through this life, if I could just help somebody, I know I will be blessed for having done it. And so I don't look at, my bank account is not where my worth comes from. Because if it was, I would have kept all my money in my pocket, especially after what happened to me in May. But what I know is that I'll never be God-given no matter what I give. So, there it is. That's what happened. So that's how I came to that.
What is the website again? I want to put it on Facebook.
It's beginmybiz.com, biz.com/free book.
Got it. I just wanted to put it out there before while we're on here, but that is an amazing thing. I know I've had your book for many years, but the thing is, with anybody out there, you having a book without implementation, you got to implement the keys and the everything that's in it to even do it. So I didn't want to go. I wanted to stay there, but I wanted to pivot to, you talked about team. So the three things for fix your business I wanted to address was people, processes, and presence. Let's say presence.
Presence, okay.
Presence. So
okay.
You talked about the people and your team. What did it take to? You mentioned that in the book. What is it to build your team, or what did it take to build a team that could actually do what you need them to do?
Well, the first thing you have to do if you want to build a team is really figure out what kind of boss you are and what kind of boss you're going to be. And because you got to make sure that the people that you hire understand your expectations and your communication style. And as we have so many different people, you might have millennials, you might have Xers, boomers, you got all kind of people now in your business, and you have to make sure that that group of people will gel with each other, but also gel with you as the boss, particularly if you've got a small organization. So you've got to write job descriptions. You got to be exhaustive in what you want people to do so that everyone comes into a situation eyes wide open, and then all of a sudden get shocked because you need them to go, deliver some packages too, and they offended because that's not what they thought their job was. You know what I mean? So you want to make sure that you are exhaustive, and that you also talk about not just I want you to do this, but you want to describe how you want people to think in your business too, because you don't want just doers. You want thinkers in your business too. Very, very, very important. And so those are the things I think you've got to think about. And then you've got to think about sort of like your hiring process. You've got to make sure that once you hire somebody, you got to train them. And too often small business owners, we hire people, we throw them the keys and say, good luck. We don't train people. We don't onboard people. And that's why people can't do their job. And then you have the nerve to get mad and you ain't bother training anybody. And you can't train somebody once, right? You got to train somebody every quarter, every 6 months, to remind people so that you keep your processes tight. Because what you want is a seamless, repeatable experience for your customer. And if you're not training your folks, who's putting your t-shirt in the box to ship it? Is there tissue paper that goes on top? Is there a little sticker that goes on top? You throw a couple of pieces of candy in the box. Does anybody know that? Is it written down anywhere? Or is that just how you did it? Right? So you go from people to processes, and processes are important because you as the business owner need to always make sure that you're doing your most high value activities, your most high value tasks. So if your time is billable at $250 an hour, Shelly, should you be entering your own data into QuickBooks? Should you be doing that? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I mean, you almost have to do would Damon John do that? That's what you need to ask yourself. Would Damon John enter his own data into QuickBooks? No, he would not. So you got to look at, as a business owner, what should you be outsourcing? Because if sales is your number one job in your business, and by the way, it better be your number one job in your business, then you've got to figure out how to outsource the other stuff and make sure that stuff gets done so that you can focus on your number one job, which is sales and business retention. That's what everybody needs to be worried about as a business owner. Everybody in your business needs to know how to sell, but you as a business owner better know how to sell, or thus you will be out of business very, very soon.
So did you, with that said, with the sales, did you go in and train for that? Did you get a coach for that? Or was it something inherently you knew that came naturally?
Well, so in the interest of fairness, my father was a salesman for 30 years for the same company. So some of my gift of sales I got through osmosis, right? Because my dad could sell ice to an Eskimo. He was amazing, right? So, but I will tell you though, when I first started my business, I went to sales training. And now, like a few years ago, I went to LinkedIn training to learn how to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Because if you sell B2B, LinkedIn Sales Navigator is the number one sales tool online. And you need to know how to use it. So you can't be afraid to invest in training and coaching if that's what you need, because all it's going to do is shorten your learning curve. And that's what you need if you got to get results quickly. So, you've got to make sure you're paying attention to understanding how you get customers, how long it takes you to close customers, right? Your sales cycle, and then what your follow-up strategy is going to be after you close the sale, because anybody will buy something once, boo. You got to get them to buy it over and over again so that you can create repeat recurring revenue. Long-term contract. Those things happen when you have a proper follow-up system to your sales leads. Too often business owners let people walk in their store, plunk down $50 and leave. That's madness. Why, the most expensive sale you'll ever make is the first sale. So you got to love on those customers. You got to love on people who love you. Existing customers are your best possible opportunity to get more money. So focus on existing customers. You can, you can, do a couple of things to attract new customers, but ain't nobody like the people that already said they love you. Focus on them.
I like that. So when it comes to sales, I'm just going back to sales because I love sales. I mean, that's really how I got where I was going, where I am from sales. But what exactly, when you're saying, hey, you have books, you're a speaker, you're speaking all around the world. What is it that you're selling? So what is it, a product that you're selling? Is it your speaking service that you're selling? What are you actually selling? Or do you really need to sell anymore? Because you're Melinda Emerson, the small business lady.
No, you always need to sell, baby, always. But no, listen, my first business is a marketing consulting firm. That's how I learned to be the small biz lady. So we work with Fortune 500 companies that target the small business market. But I also am the small biz lady, and we have Small Biz Lady Enterprises. So my books, my online courses, my, any of my social media marketing products and things, my podcast, all of that's up under Small Biz Lady Enterprises.
Okay.
And so we sell my influence. We sell my endorsement as a national spokesperson, right? I was the national spokesperson for Small Business Saturday for American Express in December, right?
Wow.
I sell, I make money per tweet. Sometimes brands will be like, will you please just send these 5-10 tweets out? Sure. I charge per tweet, for social posts. I charge brands that want to put sponsored posts on my blog. People want to sponsor my podcast. People want to be the tech tip of the week in my newsletter. Oh no, we charge people for all of that stuff.
But I think it's good to hear that. Some people think I just have this, as opposed to saying, look at all the things, the multiple streams of income within the business of Small Biz Lady. So I just wanted to, really hear you break it down on all the ways you can make money.
Oh yeah, and then when I do keynote speeches, my favorite thing to do is to pre-sell my book before I get there. So I always ask them, well, how many people y'all expected? Oh, 300. Oh, well, would you guys like 300 copies of my books in the gift bag when they leave? Oh, you would? Great. So I autograph them and ship them before I get there. So because I can't stand selling books in the back of the room. It's my least favorite thing on the planet. So what I always try to do is sell books before I get there.
This is the least favorite thing on the planet. And meanwhile, everybody else like, no, let me sell this book.
Yeah, no, that's not how we do it. So those are some of the things that we do, that I do. And then sometimes, I do give keynote speeches. Sometimes I speak in front of board of directors of major corporations. Sometimes I speak, at conferences, or I do large webinars. During the COVID-19 crisis, at the height of it, I did a big webinar for Verizon. I did one for Chase. I did one for Thrive. And done some other, specific content for brands, just helping them educate the small business community. Because one of the things we realized was that a lot of people need training. A lot of people need know-how. Everybody knows how to build their widget, but very few people know how to run their business. And so that's what I'm in the business of. I am trying to help end small business failure. So that is what I'm really about, just really educating people about what this thing is we call business, right?
This business is deep, because that's why we wanted to focus on the processes, because it says build systems to delegate and scale. Because at some point, when you get a lot of business, if you're a solopreneur, if it's just you can't go up, you can't increase your income, because it's only one you, and you have to turn away business, and you need the money, but you have to turn away business. Bless you, because you don't have the processes in place to do it. So
absolutely,
that's where I find myself right this second.
Well, a lot of people are there, right? You've got to realize that your business can only grow as far as your arms can reach, if it's just you. So your business is only going to go this far, and until you get you some more hands, right? Because many hands make light work. So you've got to get you some hands, and you don't have to start out with some like full-time W-2 employee. Literally, you can go on Fiverr or find you a virtual assistant in the Philippines for $8 an hour and get you some help. It doesn't have to be somebody you paying 52 grand a year plus health benefits plus this plus it. No, eventually, yes, but you don't have to. There's a lot of different people you can hire, virtual assistants, 10 hours, 20 hours a week, that would just make your life so much better. And you could be out there making more money if you stop doing stuff you can't stand to do and frankly are not good at.
Facts indeed. You know, I'll take that. I'll take that. And so the next P in it was presence. You have a presence, and a lot of people think that. I mean, that's really what a lot of people want. They want presence because they think presence is going to bring them money. But don't you have to definitely get through the other P's to get to the presence, right?
Well, it's not even about the other P's as much as it's about, if there's another P I could give you, you got to have a point of view, right? The problem with all these people out here now, everybody want to be an influencer or everybody want to be an Instagram or YouTube superstar, blah, blah, you're already too late. You know, like you got to figure out the next big thing because that's already really heavily saturated. I mean, the average small business owner is exposed to 3,000 to 4,000 marketing images a week and retains 3 or 4 of them. That's how hard it is to penetrate people's psyche, especially now with people being bombarded with internet messages constantly. So how are you going to stand out? Say something different from what everybody else is saying. Nobody is looking for another Me Too business. People are looking for solutions, first of all. So you got to figure out what your target customer's pain is, and you need to be the ibuprofen, right? You got to figure out how to be the solution, and you have to figure out how to package your marketing messaging in such a way that they would dare not use you. Like you have to understand. So how I've built my brand and my reputation, I believe I have over 70 recommendations on LinkedIn. Do you know why I have that many?
Why? I can imagine.
Because when people call me, we don't have conversations about whether or not I can solve their problem. We have conversations about their budget and my availability. Because my ability to solve their problem is well documented in social media.
Yes, it is.
I do not have to explain to anyone what it is I do. Because there's only one small business lady.
Yes, it is.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to get to that point, whatever it is you're doing, you have to be that girl or that dude. And it doesn't come overnight. You heard me say it took me 2 years. I treated Twitter like a 9-to-5 job. It wasn't making me any money at that time for 2 years. And I go back to that because I think people look at me and they say, oh, well, how hard could it be? Or how hard was it for her? No, it was very damn hard, as a matter of fact. Because while I was doing it, I had a 1.5-year-old baby that was screaming and crying, and an ex-husband or a husband who was unsupportive, who was telling me that I needed to go get a job and that Twitter stuff was just some BS and that I needed to send out some more resumes to get a job. Yeah. So when I said, no, I actually think I got $1 million idea. I actually think I could become America's #1 small business expert. He said, why would anyone listen to you? Yeah, I had all of that going on in the background, and my business was a hot mess because I had been on bed rest and so much of our stuff was in upheaval. So I was 33 years old and was having like a Mariah Carey meltdown while I was building my brand on Twitter.
And nobody even had to know because you were doing it well.
And was crying at night. And when my son was 4 years old, we finally broke up.
Well,
but I need to tell that story. And I realized for so many years, I haven't told that story. And what I realized is that story can bless more people. So you know what? I'm going to start telling that story because now my son is 15 years old.
Right?
I mean, and he's healthy and strong, and my business is healthy and strong. And that doesn't mean I haven't been hit. You guys heard me say somebody stole $100,000 from me. And I will tell you, that's not really fun in the middle of the pandemic. Okay. Not really fun.
No, not at all.
but if you are faithful, everything will be all right. I promise. Any trouble you get into, always remember that it is temporary. And the other thing I will tell you is your current location don't have nothing to do with your destination. And that's what I need you to really understand. Is that if I can build a multi-million-dollar business from the basement of my house, you can too.
You can
hear that.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? See, I think the whole thing with the $100,000 is like they knew who to come to. See, they knew who to come to. They stole 700 from me, but they like, wait a minute, she only got 700. But even anybody stealing anything is like, you crazy, man. It's such a violation. But I'm glad you got it back. Plus, and I believe your business, I'm sure more and more and more is going to come from that whole situation. I know, I don't want to, I value your time. So I'm going to I know somebody has a question and I don't want to monopolize the whole thing because we didn't get to the recession proof. If you can be a quick nugget about recession proof in your business, and then we'll go quick questions because listen, her time is valuable. It costs money, y'all. But thank God for his friends in high places.
Listen,
like Jay-Z right here, JC.
Look, all right. So when you think about a recession proofing a business, what you have to think about is your unique value proposition. What is your moonwalk? What is your secret sauce? What is it about your business that you do that is not easily duplicatable by your competition? If you focus on that, make sure you can answer that question, you'll have a career for life. There it is. That's all you got to do. Make sure there's something unique and special about your business. Make sure there's not a better option than you. Make sure somebody else's website doesn't have more resources on it than yours. You go to my website, I've got 5,000 articles under the hood of my site. Go to my search bar, search for anything. Literally anything. How to hire my first hire, how to hire a salesperson, how to hire SEO people, how to get started on Amazon, whatever. I made sure when you search for me on Twitter, do you know who they compare me to? Entrepreneur and Inc.
Oh.
And I'm one freaking person.
Yes. That's what I want you to know who you have in front of you. I mean, people don't understand. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's the truth. I'm still trying to figure out exactly my unique value proposition, except for just being me. But anyway, we're gonna work on that. I think Disco, you had a question. We're gonna make them quicker to the point.
Okay, I want to get back to the part where you said basically you got to get it someone with a name or following or whatever. But if you're not in that, how do you approach these people to get them to be a part of your podcast?
Well, I think that a lot of people approach me like every day, right? And the people that are smart that approach me first are fans of my content. Like they go out and share my stuff, or they leave a comment on one of my blog posts or on LinkedIn or on Twitter or something. They do something to get noticed by me in a positive way. before they just reach out cold. If you reach out cold to me and I ain't never heard of you and I don't know who you are, you don't have no chance of me saying yes. But if you reach out to me after you spent 3 months kind of looking at my stuff and sharing it and tweeting it and shouting me out and giving me follow Fridays and like doing stuff to be like, I'm a fan of this lady and she's going to know my name at least when you approach me, tell me about my last podcast you listened to. You know, don't just, you have to realize that all of social media is give to get, and you got to give first before you can get. And if you remember that, and you always approach people like, you know, if you ask me for 15 minutes, take 15 minutes. If you ask me for an hour, it better be just an hour, but don't ask somebody you don't know for an hour. Ask them for 15, 20, or 30 minutes tops. But you can't just be like, oh, let me try to contact Jay-Z. What do you have to offer, Jay-Z? Why would he, you know, what would be his benefit from talking to you, helping you? Mm-hmm. Right? So you really have to think about that kind of stuff, because people hit me up all the time. Will you be my mentor? I'm sorry, have I ever met you? No, I'm not doing that. Love you though, but no, I'm not doing that. I mean, I just can't. You guys have no idea. My time is bananas.
There's not enough time in the day to do all that.
Not in be a good mom, right? Not in be a good friend, not in, you know, my boo actually get some time with me. Yeah, like, no, I can't do all that. I do a lot, but I can't do everything.
And that's the crazy thing. That's the thing. People don't understand that a lot of this comes from relationship building too. You think you could just come on in and just...
You have to friend raise before you can fundraise. And that's what people don't get. One of the things that really, really helped me early on in my career as I was building the SmallBizLady brand is for a year, all I did was tweet out helpful information. I didn't try to sell nobody nothing until my book came out. So I had 18 months of helping other people, promoting other people's books, sharing other people's stuff, featuring people on Small Biz Chat, featuring people on my blog. So when my book came out, people ran over top of themselves to help me. They were like, oh, wait a minute, SmallBizLady's got a book out. Let me see if I can't interview her for Inc. magazine. Let me see if I can't feature it on my website, on my blog post. I got a YouTube channel. Let me interview her. All kind of people help me. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's the name of the game. You got to help other people. You can't be a selfish twit. That's not even how life works, let alone how social media works. But the one great thing about social media is there are no gatekeepers anymore, right? You can get to anybody, but you better be ready the day you get to them. You better be ready the day you reach them, though. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. If you get their attention, you better be ready. If they say, I got 15 minutes on this day, you better make it happen.
Yep. Sure enough. And not even that, before you understand, like I met Melinda at WGTW, but throughout the years, if she was speaking somewhere, I was right there.
Yes, you are. You've always been my super fan.
If she had somewhere, I'm like, all right, I'm right there. I mean, I remember coming from work one day, like, I'm coming to this conference. I'm going to be right there. I knew I had my plan in mind. I'm going right there. But that's what people don't understand. You really build relationships. I'm not in this for, what can I get? I build relationships because I admire people and what they bring to the table. Who else had a question? I know Catrice Bailey has a question. I saw your hand, but I know you have a question.
Okay, so now I think this is the book y'all are talking about, right?
Yes.
So just the other day, because I listened to your podcast and it's amazing. It's like you have to have a piece of paper and a pen the whole entire time. You got to take notes and you got to rewind it and catch it again. So I already know that's what I'm going to do for this live right here. And I asked myself, I was like, last week I said, I looked at the book and I was going through the chapters. And you can't just go through the chapters quickly. You actually have to, it takes time.
Those people have to read it at least twice.
And like literally do the stuff that it's saying to do. So I only got up to a certain page, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a particular business that I was starting. And I was like, now what would have happened if I would have just kept 12 months and stuck with the business? Where would I be right now? Lord Jesus.
Well, you know what? Here's the beautiful thing. You know, the world is still waiting on a better mousetrap. So it doesn't matter when you start your business, as long as you're offering a better mousetrap, and the world will beat a path to your door no matter where your door is. But what you got to realize now is your competition is global. It's Philly, it's Amazon, it's that dude in Russia with a website that he'll copy yours overnight and be up overnight, right? So you got to make sure that your uniqueness is packaged, baked in, because that's really what you know, your special service gift to your customers. That's what you got to do. You got to stand out. You got to stand out.
So my actual question is, so can I ask two real quick?
No, you know there's other people that need to ask questions, girl.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask. When do you hire a PR? When is the best time to hire a PR, depending on what you're doing?
Well, first of all, you can't afford to hire a PR person until you're making some money. You know, I was fortunate. I had another business before I became the Small Biz Lady. So that's where my revenues came from to invest in my publicist. You definitely want to hire a publicist when you have something you're promoting, whether it's a new book, whether it's a new product launch. If you're trying to get media interviews, to, you know, whatever you're trying to do, it's hard to do it by yourself. You can do it by yourself, though. Mm-hmm. There's lots of books telling you how to get media. There's webinars that teach you how to get media. So you certainly can do it yourself until you can afford to have a team. But I mean, you got to be prepared to invest like $2,000 to $4,000 a month for a publicist if you're serious. So that's that you got to be making some money before you can do that.
Okay. Awesome. Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's say the question. George.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing today? My question was, you mentioned something about how like the wave is kind of over with the whole social media thing, and
I wouldn't say the wave is over with. So, but what I'm saying is, if you're trying to become, you know, a beauty expert, there's 5,000 of them now, probably 50,000 of them now. They all on Instagram and the rest of them are on YouTube, right? So what I'm saying is you have to be coming at it from some unique angle. Because if you're, so I heard you say at the beginning of the show that you have a business where you're doing therapy and counseling and healing for people, right? So, you know, you're a young Black male talking about healing. I think that's very unique. I actually think there's definitely a space for you, because we just started talking about Black folks in healing, particularly Black men in healing in the wake of George Floyd and stuff like that. So I actually think you're right at the right time with your content, trying to figure out how to help people and help young men talk about how to heal. I think that that's something that there's not a lot of that. And so there's an opportunity for you to really get out there and build a real name for yourself doing that. Because there's a lot of PTSD, a lot of trauma that people have been through before George Floyd. If they've ever been, you know, 1 in 3 Black men has been involved with the criminal justice system. So there's so much pain and hurt out here in Black families, in particular Black and brown families. So I definitely think that what you are doing is something that definitely you can build a brand for right now, because it's not like there's a plethora of young Black men teaching other Black men how to heal. Not even close.
Yeah, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And my question was like, well, what would you say is the, for lack of better terminology, the new wave per se, or what would you say is the next thing that's gonna be it, I guess you can say?
I still think content is king. I don't care what, I mean, what's gonna change is the distribution system, but it's still about excellent quality content. and you have to publish it consistently in order to become a trusted member of the community. And then once you do that, you can turn that relationship into commerce. But you're going to have to build over time. You got to build that trust relationship. And you build that trust relationship by publishing every week at the same time, sun or shine, set a watch to it. Every Monday, every Tuesday, every Thursday by 6 a.m., there's a fresh blog post on my blog. Has been since 2009. That's why I have the credibility that I have in the marketplace, because I've been consistent. I said I was going to do Small Biz Chat every Wednesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. and I did it for 10 and a half years. You know, you can have more dedication than other people. I don't believe you have to outwork people no more, but you definitely have to have more dedication than other people. And that pays off in the end.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
One thing I can say about George, Melinda, he's one of those people, how you give him something, he implements it above all else, above all anybody. He implements everything you say, does it, and does it twice time over. You like, what? I'm still sitting here trying to figure it out. He's already implemented it. He's already taken his notes, implemented it, put it in the plan. So I see that for you. He's about to take everything you said. He's about to run and do it in an amazing way.
Well, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I believe it. I've watched him do it. I've watched him implement every guest that we've had. I've watched him take the notes and implement everything they said and build his brand. I've watched him do it. So I know I do this. I do this for them. I really do it. I do it because I know that they're going to do what they're supposed to do. Him and Catrice and everybody else, they're going to do what they're supposed to do and take it to the next level. Anybody else have a question before we go? It is definitely getting late. So when you going to see this again? I'm telling you. Unless you build a relationship, you ain't gonna get it again. All right, going once, going twice.
Can I ask one quick question?
Okay, you and Catrice have a second question. Melinda, do you mind or
not at all? Let's just hit and quit it. Let's go.
All right, Ed, Disco, do your second question, and then we'll go to Catrice's second question.
TV. If you really, really want to be like on TV, like my goal is to be on CNN. Okay.
Doing what?
As a political analyst.
Oh, okay. All right.
My morning show that I have now is like the Black CNN, and I get a lot of good reviews. So my question is, how do you get to CNN? Like, how do you?
You got to build up your following. You got to build up your brand. The same way Roland Martin did it, the same way that, oh my gosh, that brother that was partnered with, brother that got in trouble on PBS, black guy on PBS, had the show on PBS.
I want to say
Tavis, Roland Martin, those guys, they built their own brands, and then CNN came calling. So you really have to build up a following. The reason why corporate brands hire me and engage with me for national spokesperson opportunities, or the reason why they hire me to, help them share their message, is because I have a humongous following. My brand reaches 3 million entrepreneurs each week online. My direct follower list is 1 million. And so if you want to be taken seriously as a media expert, you got to build a following. You got to show fans, followers. You got to get them people on Instagram, all that stuff. You got to do all that.
You got to do it all.
Yeah, that's what it takes.
You know how they say it takes all that. It takes all that.
It does. All right, let's get to Catrice's question, because we got 5 minutes.
Okay, so I have a quick question. So how far in advance should you reach out to someone who you want to interview to be a guest on your show?
It depends on how big of a celebrity they are. Like if they're an A-list celebrity, like somebody that's on TV all the time right now, girl, you could be trying for a year to get somebody like that. If you want to reach out to someone, I consider myself like a level B celebrity, right? Like I'm a celebrity, but I'm not ridiculous. Paparazzi's not following me, right? Mm-hmm. So 3 to 6 months is appropriate to reach out to somebody at my level that you want to have on your show, because you got to realize that, this month is probably shot. So you got to, it's going to be the next month or the month after that I can make time for you, if you're lucky, unless I'm working on a big project or something like that. Like, I just finished my brand new book. So, for the last 2.5 months, I've done no interviews. And people like Shelly, only because I love Shelly, I've known her for so many years, and I would even allow her to interview me, because I'm not even doing any more interviews until my book drops this summer. So, I do things for people that I like and people that I want to encourage. But I can't always do it, because I literally, if you saw that I get 300 emails a day, 300, and 150 of them are somebody asking me for something or to do something. It's crazy, and so you really have to impress someone, and you have to have an inquiry email that is no longer than 2 paragraphs, 3 at the most. And do not send an attachment. Nobody's going to open an attachment that doesn't know you. You can put a link. You can put a link in an email, but do not attachments. No, nobody's downloading an attachment from a stranger.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Melinda. You said that your book is coming out soon. So I was going to say, what are you working on and what can we promote?
I'm not talking about it yet. We're going to focus on the Become Your Own Boss free book offer. And and let's focus on Fix Your Business. So if you're in business and you want to take your business to the next level or continue with your digital pivot, you need my book, Fix Your Business. If you are just getting started or you're a side hustler trying to get this thing to become your full-time gig, you need my book, Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months. And right now I'm giving it away free. So head on over to beginmybiz.com/free book. And you can get your copy today, and we'll get it out to you. All right.
All right. Thank you so much. Whenever you're ready for me, next time I got you. I'm going to cover every story you got. I can't wait for the next book. I think I got all of them.
Okay, so it's
beginmybiz.com/free book. Yes.
Backslash or forward/?
You know what? Whatever this slash is, it goes this way.
Oh, backslash.
Backslash, yeah.
All right.
/free book. If that doesn't work, try the one that goes this way. I don't remember. It's either this way or this way.
I typed it in the chat.
Okay, perfect.
Either way, you go ahead and get it. Let me tell you, when I left Foreman Mills, that was the book I had in my hand, because that was one of the seminars she was at, and I bought the book. I bought Social Media Ninja. I bought all in that one day, because the job wasn't over that day, but I had a feeling at that moment that it was time. It's like, I got everything I need to move forward.
All right, I'm putting it correctly in the chat, because I see it's in the chat incorrectly.
You see it?
Yeah, let me put it in here.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to send it to y'all now. There you go. beginmybiz.com/free book. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you, Melinda.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope this has blessed you guys. I hope I have given you guys some good nuggets. I love my girl Shelly, so I had to come and represent on her show. And I wish you all the very, very best of everything. I do.
Thank you. We
Thank
will
you
be thinking of you and promoting you as well.
Oh, well, I appreciate that very, very much. I do.
Yes, please do. Thank you so much, Melinda. I will be talking to you soon. Of course, I'll be seeing you online.
Yep, I will be online this Wednesday for Small Biz Chat Live. All right. We got 3 awesome guests. You guys will love it.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right. See you later.